It's happening again. Welcome, Blue Believers, to another episode of the Stamford Sync, where we are syncing up with everything Chelsea FC. And today, that means a toothless draw away to Bournemouth at the Vitality Stadium. And this, mate, so, you know, at the end of the day, better than the Leeds game because we didn't lose. But, mate, it was poor, man. It was really, really, really poor. Like, there's so much and nothing to get into at the same time with this game, man. It is quite difficult. But guys, before we try to get into it, if you're enjoying the content and would like to see more, please do me the distinct honour of liking and sharing the video, subscribe to the channel, or just roast me in the comments, whatever gets you through your day, because nothing is going to get me through mine. Right, so compared to the Leeds game, we put out a strong lineup. Do you know what I mean? The lineup definitely looked a lot better. We had Robert Sanchez in goal, Malo Gusto right back, Wesley Fofana, Trevor Chalobah back in centre defence, Marco Correa at left back, a double pivot of Reece James and Enzo Fernandez, Pedro Neto on the right wing, Cole Palmer gets his first start in months in the centre of attack, Alejandro Garnacho on the left, and Liam Delap up front. So when you look at that, that's like, yeah, cool, that's a strong team, man, compared to the weird rotation that we did last time. And I know, you know, Caicedo's out, but Reece James played really well in midfield against Arsenal. You would have thought that we would have been able to get something out of this game. The first thing to note, and there are a few things to note in this is the first time since the opening game of the season against Crystal Palace that we failed to score a goal. So our defence was all right today, actually. We'll get into why in a minute. But toothless, blunt attack, man. Like, not enough spark, not enough creativity. And I don't really know where to kind of point the finger. It's getting really difficult to know where to point the finger at the moment because you wouldn't look at the formation and say Maresca got it wrong necessarily. All of our best players there, Cole Palmer. Yeah, okay, maybe starting him is risky at the moment, but at the same time, do you know what I mean? We've got so many games at the moment. He's got to start getting minutes and we need to play him back into form. This feels like a reasonably good game for him to have a go at, do you know what I mean? And the first 5 minutes, man, so I'll be completely honest, I missed like the first 4 and a bit minutes of this game because I was doing something and I quickly jumped on and started watching it. And the instant I turned on the TV, Semenyo put the ball in the back of the net and I was like, no, what's going on? Fortunately, that was ruled out for offside. But that just kind of told the story of the first, 10 minutes of the game, man. Bournemouth just came out like Leeds did. They were pushing. Our defence just looked calamitous at the beginning. Now, weirdly, you probably saw it in the starting 11 graphic that I just put up. All of our defenders and for the most part and Robert Sanchez all got reasonably high ratings as per SofaScore. But in that first 5 minutes, man, just after the Semenyo goal, I saw some of the most clown show, calamitous defending I have ever seen. It was a joke, man. It was just like you could hear the Benny Hill theme tune playing in the background. It was so bad, man. It was so bad. Eventually, the game settled down. I don't know, and the story of this game though was the blunt attack, though. Do you know what I mean? It really was. I can't help but feel we're really seeing that loss of Moises Caicedo at the moment. Don't get me wrong, Reece James did a really good job against Arsenal, where we were ultimately expected to do a lot of defending and stuff. Do you know what I mean? And where and the game had kind of settled in by that point as well, but Reece James, I think, offers something in midfield, but by the looks of it, as of right now, doesn't offer the replacement we need for Caicedo right now, because Caicedo's so good at midfield in that lone number 6 role that whoever else is in midfield, i.e. Enzo Fernandez, can afford to get forward a lot more. Do you know what I mean? And essentially, overload that kind of midfield, which is something that we absolutely should have done today, because both of Bournemouth's first choice centre midfielders, the commentary mentioned it loads of times, weren't available. Do you know what I mean? So the idea was, okay, we can probably win the midfield battle today and get some chances out of it. But Reece James today wasn't at his best, man. He got a reasonably good rating, but in terms of how we play when Moises Caicedo's in there, he isn't a good enough midfielder yet. Maybe he can be though if he gets more time. Do you know what I mean? We'll have to see what happens with that. But he isn't obviously good enough to take a lot of that pressure off of the other midfielder, i.e. Enzo Fernandez, to be able to get forward and create overloads and stuff. Cole Palmer, Cole Palmer didn't have an amazing game, truth be told. But again, I don't really expect him to, man. Do you know what I mean? He's been out for so long now. The pressure, the onus can't be on Cole Palmer to win us these games. What you did see, if we are trying to look at some positives, is the difference in how the play looks when Cole Palmer's there. He was doing some lovely instinctive passes and dinks, and do you know what I mean? He wasn't, it wasn't clean and crispy like we expect from Cole Palmer, but at the same time, like, there is potential for a lot more fast passing, little 1-2s, and kind of unexpected counters and stuff, and moments of magic just from Cole Palmer being on the pitch. You can see when he is kind of getting better again that maybe that's something we start seeing more often. So, big things. Liam Delap looks like he's probably going to be out again for a little while now. Liam Delap, it was a bit of a weird one, actually. So, Liam Delap was defending a ball in the box, landed on, he kind of tussled with a defender and landed on his shoulder, got up instantly, holding his shoulder, changed straight away and walked down the tunnel. The change will surprise a lot of people, especially because it was so early in the game. Mark Gue was given the shot. And again, instantly I was like, oh, okay, that's cool, because we know Mark Gue's got all that pressing energy and this, that and the other. But it was an unusual one because João Pedro was on the bench, do you know what I mean? So just based on what we've seen so far, you would have thought that João Pedro had probably come in at that point, but he didn't. João Pedro came on later in the game to replace Cole Palmer at the 60th minute. So we're probably going to see Palmer get either half an hour at the end of a game or 60 minutes at the start of a game for a while. But yeah, Liam Delap could be out for weeks again, man, depending on how serious this is. Do you know what I mean? And another thing that's highlighted to me today, something I absolutely hate to admit. We've been talking about strikers on the Blue Lounge recently, right? And I've never been a big proponent of going all out for someone like a Victor Osimhen, because the amount of money it could have cost us based on would he actually come and do it in the Prem and stuff, do you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, what I am seeing today is we are sorely lacking a clinical, dangerous, predatory striker. Do you know what I mean? Someone who can really be a nuisance in the box, but also be dangerous. Do you know what I mean? Liam Delap is a handful for defenders, but his finishing doesn't look to be on point and his awareness isn't there. João Pedro, as of right now, looks good sometimes when he drops deep and plays that 9.5 kind of role or whatever. And Mark Gue is a 19, 20-year-old who has still got a lot of developing to do. And it felt like to me today, watching this game in totality, that a proper striker is the thing we're actually missing. I don't necessarily think the thing to do is to go out and spend huge money on a striker, do you know what I mean? But if these guys, i.e. Mark Gue, Liam Delap and João Pedro, if one of them doesn't start putting them away soon, that's not necessarily a good thing. It is starting to make the decision to let Nicholas Jackson go look a little bit more silly, and we're hearing a lot of stuff now. Fabrizio Romano's come out and said Jackson will never play for Chelsea again, and that's a shame, do you know what I mean? And it's only a shame right now. Like, long term, I don't think Jackson's the guy that's going to win us the Premier League and stuff, but when you just compare what we had with Jackson compared to, the thing is, it's really easy to say that as well, but Jackson used to go missing in games like this, man. So again, I'm getting caught up in the fact that we had a striker that seemed a little bit better, but ultimately Jackson went missing in loads of games, man. So maybe I'm just talking out of my absolute rear end in that one. And I'm just rambling in general, man, because a goalless match is hard to commentate on in the first place, do you know what I mean? But you've got to give it to Bournemouth. Like, they made the game really difficult for us. Senesi, centre-back, played really well for them. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just a real tough one, isn't it? Like, so the Leeds game was a shock. This game wasn't a shock. It was really frustrating. Everton is our next Premier League game, and they've won 4 out of their last 5 games now. Do you know what I mean? So all of a sudden, we are actually in, as far as form goes, we're the underdogs going into that game. We've got Atalanta next in the Champions League, and that will see the return of Moises Caicedo, and that will be really interesting just to see, after going a few games without Moises Caicedo now, how evident it is that he is actually such a massive part of how our team plays and allows our attack to be more attacking as well. Do you know what I mean? Reece James, and again, it's difficult to put on Reece James because he's not a lone 6 midfielder by trade or whatever. Do you know what I mean? He's kind of been thrown into this role, but as of right now, we need him to be better at it. There's only a few players in this game for me that really came away, although the stats are, favour a few people in general. From the eye, the players that I think can come out of this game with their heads held reasonably high are Robert Sanchez. Loads of really great saves today. Again, loads of really great saves. We didn't have a shot on target in the first half, by the way. It was absolutely mad. And they had 11 shots and 5 on target in that first half. So Robert Sanchez did a really good job throughout the whole game in his shot stopping, made a few distribution errors and looked a little bit wobbly in points. I thought Wesley Fofana was really good today. Trevor Chalobah hiccuped a little bit a few times, but Wesley Wesley Fofana looked pretty solid throughout. He is unquestionably, as of right now, our best centre-back, and I hope he can come back to full fitness soon. We've got to be careful with him, though. Do you know what I mean? We absolutely have to be careful with him. I do understand decisions like not putting him in the Leeds game because we have to manage his minutes. We're still managing Reece James's minutes at the end of the day. I thought Malagusto was good today. Malagusto just looked kind of solid in the majority of areas he was in. He wasn't, often the frustrating thing about Malagusto is like missing chances and stuff, but there was none of that today. He played a lot of actual normal right-back stuff today. He was getting involved in midfield. He was making good tackles, interceptions, and like sometimes really nice 1-2s with Pedro Neto. They were linking up really nicely on that right-hand side. So yeah, it's just the attack really disappointing today, man. The attack really, really disappointing today. We brought on João Pedro for Cole Palmer at the 60th minute. We brought on Esteval Willian for Garnacho in the 77th minute, and Pedro went over to the left. Esteval barely got a sniff. He was on for 15 minutes, do you know what I mean? And he literally barely got a sniff for the game. Oh, just really frustrating, man. Really frustrating. The Christmas curse is back, isn't it? The Christmas curse is back. This is exactly what happened last season. It was, title challenge, Chelsea are in a title challenge. And then all of a sudden, we have a really poor string of results. And, what I hope is that we can pick up from it a little bit quicker. I'll be really interested to see if we have a poor run up until January, if that's going to make any difference in what we were thinking about doing in the transfer market, right? I don't think there's going to be much, ages ago, for instance, there was links to Ivan Toney on a loan or whatever. Do you know what I mean? I do really think that an experienced centre-forward, if there is one available on the market for cheap, would do us a world of good at the moment. Even an Ivan Toney, maybe. And this is probably just copium and hopium from me now, because I'm just looking at these, two of the easier games that we've got in the running. We've got to play Bournemouth again in December as well. So, it'll be at home that time. So maybe, we'll be a little bit better at home. I'm not sure. But yeah, just a really difficult one, man. And difficult to construct my thoughts about it as well, because I'm so deflated just coming off of the back of the Burnley win, the Barcelona win, which was unbelievable, and the Arsenal draw, which was incredible. And then we got the Leeds draw, which was shocking, really, really disappointing. And now we've got a really, really frustrating draw against Bournemouth. I guess if there's any way to look at it in a kind of really pseudo-positive manner, it's that we've gone from losing at Leeds to drawing at Bournemouth. You would argue that Bournemouth was always probably going to be a harder game. So maybe this dip is shorter, and whatever the issue is, we're working it out of our system quicker. That's the only kind of pseudo-positive that I can take and try and look into the game going forward. But that's kind of how it is, man. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about this game. It was really, really difficult to watch. There weren't many bright moments. There wasn't a lot of stuff that was getting me off my seat, or even hard to look at the positives from this game, man. At the end of the day, as far as the who scored graphic went for the starting 11, a lot of our defenders actually got reasonably high ratings. So it showed you that Bournemouth were getting a lot of attacks, which they did, and for the most part, our defence dealt quite well with it. Marco Correa got quite a low rating today. He's been a little bit off form recently as well. But yeah, the attackers, man, absolutely just not good enough. Absolutely just not good enough. And something needs to change. It feels like a bit of a break almost. I expect to see rotation. Not a huge amount, but obviously I expect to see the likes of Moises Caicedo, maybe Jamie Gittins, maybe Yoro Hato, a couple of guys get starts against Atalanta. Champions League games are always very different anyway. And truth of the fact is, when there's a bit more pressure on us, we generally play well. Do you know what I mean? Atalanta, not sure, they were a really good attacking team a little while ago. I'm not exactly sure where they are now. But big nights, big moments, big events. I can see us winning the Champions League game or getting something out of it at least. And this is the whole thing. I've said this a few times, man. I'm going to wrap up this video just by talking about the title challenge, right? The title challenge. And games like this, games like Leeds, games like Crystal Palace, games like Brentford earlier in the season, the 4-3 with Wolves, which should have been 4-1 at the very least. Do you know what I mean? Like, these are the reasons that the team isn't ready to title challenge for a title yet. It's fine beating the big teams. We need to get results against the teams that we're supposed to get results against. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, like, we're in 4th place now, and Arsenal lost today, man. This is another thing about the title challenge. Arsenal lost today, and we could have reduced that gap back to 6 points if we'd have won today, but it's now 8 points. Do you know what I mean? Man City have closed it. City have closed that gap. They've now got 2 points. The fact that Arsenal lost against Aston Villa today should have been a massive boon, and that should have really, really energised the squad to see that they can start closing down that gap. That's absolutely not what happened. We look completely devoid of ideas today. Have to give Bournemouth their flowers. They played really, really well. Antoine Semenyo looks really good. Senensi looks great, their centre-back. Do you know what I mean? They played well today despite being without 2 of their first choice players in their central midfield. They still found a way to make it a really frustrating game for us, and they had a lot of chances. Bournemouth will be ruining their own lack of attacking threat and their toothlessness today, because ultimately they had a lot more chances than we did. Do you know what I mean? They had a lot more chances than we did. So if there was like a percentage of chances scored to chances made, and both teams were equal, Bournemouth would have won the game, because they would, based on the amount of chances they had, they would have scored more goals than us. I know that's not how football works, but their attacking play was generally much better than ours was. They caught us off guard a lot of times. So, guys, I'm going to wrap it up there. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for sticking around until the end. If you did, let me know what you think in the comments, guys. Atalanta, Everton, the rest of December, what do you think? Is it changes that need to be made in the starting 11? Is it not the time to be giving Cole Palmer starts yet because we need to be winning these games? Or, you know, I just really want to know what you think, man. I really want to know what you think. So nice one, guys. I hope you all have an absolutely wicked day, and I'll catch up with you very, very soon. Take it easy. Peace.